There is a room you are afraid to enter. It is not a room in your house. It has no door, no lock, and no walls that you can touch. It is the room of your own silence. We live in a civilization that has declared war on solitude. We have monetized our attention, fractured our focus, and filled every empty second of our lives with the noise of others. We are terrified of being alone, not because we fear the dark, but because we fear the stranger who waits for us there, ourselves. We confuse being alone with loneliness. These two words look alike, but they are as different as coal and diamonds. Loneliness is the poverty of the self. It is the feeling that something is missing. It is a desperate hunger for validation, for noise, for distraction. Solitude, on the other hand, is the richness of the self. It is the state of being full. It is the realization that you are not a fragment waiting to be completed by the world, but a universe waiting to be explored by you. To understand this forgotten power, we must travel back across the centuries. We must leave the noise of the modern city and find a damp, cold cave in the mountains of Kyushu, Japan. The year is 1645. Inside the cave, an old man sits by a dying candle. He is dying too. Cancer is eating away at his body. He is in pain. He is entirely alone. He has no wealth, no titles, no servants. By modern standards, this man is a failure, a vagrant, a homeless hermit dying in the dark. But if you look into his eyes, you do not see fear. You do not see regret. You see an ocean of calm so deep that it swallows the darkness around him. This man is Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman who ever lived, a man who fought 60 duels to the death and never lost, a man who faced armies. But his greatest battle was not fought with a blade. It was fought here, in the silence, against the greatest enemy of all, the human need for attachment. In his final hours, Musashi picked up a brush. He did not write a will leaving possessions to heirs. He had none. He did not write a plea for forgiveness. He wrote 21 lines, 21 principles for those who have the courage to walk alone. He called it the Dokkodo, the way of walking alone. This video is not about sword fighting. It is not about history. It is about the architecture of a soul that cannot be shaken. It is about how to find the way in your own life and why the path to true freedom is a path you must walk by yourself. Let us enter the cave. Musashi was not born a sage. He was born a beast. In his youth, he was arrogant, violent, and wild. He was a force of nature, a storm of ambition. He wanted to be invincible under the heavens. He sought fame. He sought validation. He sought to prove his existence by destroying others. He threw himself into the chaos of war. He fought master after master, cutting them down, believing that each victory added to his worth. But a strange thing happens when you get everything you want. You realize it is not enough. After years of bloodshed, after the adrenaline faded, Musashi found himself standing on top of the mountain of victory, only to find that the air there was thin and cold. The validation of the world was a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much glory he poured into it, it remained empty. He realized that the way of the sword was not about killing. It was about cutting. Not cutting flesh, but cutting illusion, cutting through the ego, cutting through the noise of society, cutting through the dependency on the external world. So he stopped fighting for fame. He walked away from the courts of lords who offered him gold. He became a Ronin, a masterless samurai, a drifter. He walked the length and breadth of Japan, not to find opponents, but to find himself. He slept in the rain. He carved wooden Buddhas. He painted landscapes of exquisite tenderness with the same hands that had taken lives. He discovered that the grip of the sword and the grip of the brush were the same. He discovered that the rhythm of a battle and the rhythm of a tea ceremony were the same. He called this the void. The void is not empty. The void is the place where all things connect. But you can only enter the void when you leave the crowd behind. Now, imagine him in the cave of Reigandō. He is 60 years old. He knows death is coming. He does not pray for more time. He writes the first rule of the Dokkodo: accept everything just the way it is. This sounds simple, But it is perhaps the hardest thing a human being can do. Our modern minds are engines of rejection. We reject the weather. We reject the traffic. We reject our bank account balance. We are constantly screaming no at reality. Musashi tells us, stop. Look at the reality in front of you. It is not good. It is not bad. It just is. To accept everything as it is not to be passive. It is to see the terrain clearly so you can move through it. He dips his brush again. He writes, do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Musashi was not a monk, but he understood the trap of dopamine long before we had a word for it. We live in a culture of addiction. We are addicted to the scroll, the like, the sugar. We use pleasure as a painkiller. But pleasure sought for its own sake is a master that is never satisfied. It is a hunger that grows the more you feed it. Musashi warns us, if you are chasing pleasure, you are not free. You are being led by a leash. To walk alone means to break the leash. It means finding a satisfaction that does not depend on external stimulation. The candle flickers in the cave. The shadows dance on the stone walls, shadows of the men he killed, shadows of the women he loved. He writes, do not regret what you have done. Regret is a ghost. Musashi made mistakes, but he understood that regret is a form of arrogance. It is the belief that you could have known then what you know now. Every scar, every error, every detour was necessary to bring him to this cave, to this moment of clarity. He writes, never let yourself be saddened by a separation. We define ourselves by who we are with. When we are separated, by breakup, by death, by drift, we feel like we are losing a limb. We bleed. Musashi tells us, you are whole. People flow into your life like water, and they flow out like water. To cling to them is to try to hold a river in your hands. You will only be left with wet fingers and a sense of loss. You were born alone. You will die alone. And in the space between, you are a traveler who meets other travelers. He has one more lesson for us, perhaps the most important one. In all things, have no preference. We are tortured by our preferences. We construct a cage of preferences and refuse to leave it. To have no preference is to be like water. Water does not prefer the flower over the root. When you have no preference, you are adaptable. You are resilient. You become the universe itself, experiencing itself. Now look at yourself. You are likely sitting in a room, bathed in the artificial light of a screen. You are connected to billions of people, yet you feel a hollow ache in your chest. You are tired of the performance. You are tired of the noise. You are afraid that if you step away, you will become nothing. But look at Musashi. He walked away from everything the world calls success, and he became immortal. He built a cathedral of silence inside himself, stone by stone, jewel by jewel, breath by breath. You do not need to pick up a sword. Your sword is your attention. Your sword is your focus. Your cave is not in the mountains of Japan. Your cave is the 5 minutes of silence you carve out of your morning. It is the walk you take without your phone. It is the evening you spend creating instead of consuming. It is the moment you decide that you are enough. The path of aloneness is not a path of sadness. It is a path of sovereignty. It is the realization that you are the king of your own inner kingdom. When you stop leaning on the world, you learn how to stand. And when you can stand alone, feel not loneliness, but a profound vibrating presence. Then you are finally free. The candle in Reigandō burned out 300 years ago. The man turned to dust. But the voice remains. It echoes from the cave, across the oceans, through the digital noise, to reach you right now. It says, do not be afraid of the silence. Do not be afraid to walk alone. The crowd is walking in circles. The path of the individual is a straight line into the infinite. Walk it. Walk it with your head high. Walk it with no regret. And know that in your solitude, you are in the company of the greatest spirits who ever lived. What will you find when the noise stops? You will find the one thing you have been looking for. You will find yourself. Welcome to the path. Welcome to the inner frontier.